Hopefully we'll get the countdown. Let's see. Maybe not. Okay, well, we're just going to be live. Yep, there we go. It's red. It's red in the corner. So we are officially live. Hello.
Hello.
Happy full moon.
Oh, same to you. Is that why I'm not sleeping?
I don't sleep on full moons either.
Yeah.
No. And this is full moon in Virgo, so very much Mercury got the brain. Hopefully it'll help me communicate good, but
okay.
I have Mercury retrograde, so.
In your chart?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I have Venus retrograde.
Really?
Yeah.
I have like, I think 5 or 6 planets retrograde, but I can't remember all which ones.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? We've got a couple people coming on. I'm just going to let me open up the chat. I'm going to remind everybody who's on Facebook for whatever reason. Facebook is weird about how it will let you comment. It'll just say user, but on YouTube, it'll show us what their username is. So
okay.
Whoever's watching, you're welcome to come in and please say hello. Come and say hi to me and Mandy, but I'm not going to know who you are if you don't tell me unless you're on YouTube. That's the one thing. So, but I don't see the chat yet. And I think I have to hit something to be able to hit that. Maybe if I do this more than like 3 times a year, I'd become an expert at it, but I did clean my office for it.
Wow.
I know.
Look at all your tarot cards.
I think that was the Virgo full moon too. Got me. Hello. Yay. Good. Okay. So the Virgo full moon had me like, girl, get your office in order. My desk used to be back there just like in the middle of the room. And there was all this empty space up here. So I pushed myself in a corner, but now you can see the whole spread. Do you see my little dog back there in the middle too?
I can't. No,
little I can't. Juniper. She's just a little deer head chihuahua.
Oh, wait. Can I open this full size? Oh, yeah, I can open it. Maybe I can see the dog.
You see her back there on her, in between those 2 little chairs. She's on her little bed.
Ah, okay.
Just her little
I see a little dog bed. Yeah.
That's little Juniper. That's where she likes to be in my office. But so anyways, well, I'm glad that we were able to get on here today and chat. So we're going to be talking about you, which I know is like not ever very comfortable, but this will hopefully I can pull the information out of you that people would want to know. We're going to start with, I like to ask everybody what their top 3 are in astrology, if you know. So your sun, moon, and rising.
Oh, okay. So I'm Taurus sun. I'm on the cusp of Aries, though.
Nice.
And then I have Gemini ascendant and Cancer moon. So I have all 4 elements.
Cancer moon is very moony.
Yeah.
Very moon.
That's my empath.
Yeah. My husband's a Cancer moon and he likes to think he's not sensitive. And I'm always like,
I have allergies to everything. And
you're not just sensitive emotionally. You're literally
I'm sensitive. Like I have chemical sensitivity disorder.
Yeah. Just highly HSP, right? Highly sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I like to know what your water placements are too, because of the like creativity that you have here with your deck creation. So the Cancer moon makes sense, right? And for anybody that is not familiar, so Mandy has created what at this point 5 decks?
Gosh, I think I've professionally printed, I think 5.
And then you've got 1 in the works still right now.
Yeah. So I'm making my first tarot. And then this one's being printed. So,
and that's the one that just finished on Kickstarter, right?
Yeah.
Ooh, can you show us some? Show us some shot there.
Yeah. So, when I was younger, my dream was to be a greeting card designer. So, wait.
Yeah, right there.
But I went to school for history, and then I got out of school, and I couldn't work a computer. So, and it's funny because I left greeting cards.
The cardstock looks a little bit
this is
better
cards. This is just a proof. The other cards are
okay. So is it going to be similar to the past life?
Yeah, it's going to be the same cardstock, the same box. This is just a proof from Make Playing Cards. So they're really tiny. So
they look good.
But anyway, so in the last part of my life, I've gotten to kind of go back to greeting cards, which is a card with a message.
That
So
is so like such a random but cute thing to want to be when you grow up. I want to make greeting
yeah,
cards.
I wanted to be a greeting card designer because I liked like making little quips and then putting them to pictures. So, and I was good at coming up with interesting ideas. And so like that's why a lot of my decks are kind of like I always try to do something that's I can't find or that's not
Right.
out there or
Yeah.
that
Even still past life decks. So I was gonna say how my first deck that I found Mandy through was the past life oracle. Many people are familiar with this deck. We know because a lot of people have it and it's been pirated by many, right?
yeah.
The past life oracle, and this is still available, right?
Oh yeah. I'm printing I like this one's sold out, so I'm reprinting it, but there's still a few copies of the first edition in my shop.
I'm going
So
to mention what I learned about you the other day, which I thought was so interesting. So Mandy's working with, is it a group? What will we say? The people that you're working with over in China.
oh, yeah,
Awesome
so it
group.
was just someone who wanted to reprint my oracle, and she wanted to do a course around it. So she bought the copyrights to print it and then is paying me a royalty, and that's how I met
Nice.
her. And
Okay.
the
I
course
would
thing
the
is
part
really
that I thought was so interesting is it's very popular over there,
yeah.
but past lives or is it reincarnation in general is taboo?
Yeah, like it's I guess it has to do with the whole Falun Gong thing.
Mhm.
So, yeah, even my printers, they can't use certain apps and
So
stuff.
they've renamed it, and what did she say it was? Hello,
Oh, another me. Another me.
another me. So
So,
instead of
yeah.
it being called the past life oracle in China, it's called another me
Yeah.
because it's taboo to talk about past lives, but they're super into it. And so have you taught a class there yet, or you just will be?
No, like she hasn't run it yet. So she just finished printing the cards, but I guess I'll teach how to use the cards and stuff
Mhm,
like that.
mhm.
So, but yeah, so but
So
this
what
deck
did you
is
call it in?
so popular there.
The what gong?
Falun Gong, those are
What
the
is that?
people that are being persecuted there.
Oh,
Yeah. They also have the Uyghurs, so but there's
yes,
a different kind of persecution for the
right,
Falun Gong.
right.
So those are the
Which are
ones in
Christian
Tiananmen
groups,
Square or
right?
something. What?
Aren't they Christian groups?
No, I think the Falun Gong, they're kind of almost Buddhist or something, but, I think they were involved don't quote me, but I think they were involved in the whole Tiananmen Square thing.
Oh,
I
yeah,
am saying that
right.
right?
Yeah,
But, yeah, so but I just know they're a spiritual group, and they kind of protested and then, didn't go well for them.
yeah.
So,
I mean, China is so fascinating, but also like a little scary.
yeah,
A
like it
lot
is.
scary. So, past lives are something that they're interested in, but are taboo. So, if anybody sees that coming up, I don't know why they would here, but if somebody sees the deck that it looks familiar, it is in fact the past life deck, but they're just changing the name. But I was going to say it's interesting that with so many decks hitting the market every day, past life is still not that easy to find really good past life decks. I mean,
Yeah, and
people
that's
are
why I made this. I have almost every past life out there, and I have, like, phobias and stuff, and I was like, "Oh," and I can't regress, like, I'm not good with
okay. That was going
hypnosis.
to be one of my questions
Yeah.
too, which is have you had any past life recall and what methods have you experienced to try to do that recall?
The most I've had is more, people reading my past lives, like Akashic records,
Uh-huh.
and I know I've had a lot of torture and persecution I'm actually working with a past life healer now, but for going back, like, I tried hypnosis, I think last year around this time,
Mhm.
and I will not go under. I think I'm just afraid of what I'm going to
Yeah.
see or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So, I actually, like, started getting really dizzy and almost fainted. So, like, that's how scared I am of seeing whatever's back there.
Right.
But
So it
I'm
must be traumatic.
yeah. So I got the cards because I knew and that's why they're so blunt too, because I knew there was gonna be some heavy stuff, and I want to face it in a way that,
Mhm.
it's coming through the cards, and it's not gonna, like, overly scare me. I'm terrified of blood and seeing blood and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
it has helped. So, I find the same stuff comes up over
What
again.
readings have you had come up for yourself through your deck?
Um, like, I do know, like, I was a slave, and according to, because one of my issues is around sleep too, and they said I was work to the point I would collapse all the time, and then they would kick
Mm,
me when would collapse.
right.
So which makes sense because I was around people who would never let me lie down. They would not let me take a nap, and I was always tired and needing to sleep. So, and I am a workaholic.
Yeah.
So that one made sense. And then the other thing I've seen, I haven't figured this one out, but I've had dreams. That was another thing. I used the deck, and then I started having dreams. So I kept
Mm,
getting up water and the ship, the Maritimer,
mhm.
and the Navy and stuff of that nature. And then I had a dream where I was on the Titanic
Oh,
after that, and I was actually part of the crew. So yeah, so it has helped kind of trigger dreams in some
yeah.
sort of
So
way.
interesting side note about the Titanic. So I have a grandson who just turned 5 last week, and he's all of a sudden obsessed with the Titanic, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he in fact was telling my daughter, well, okay, so I don't know how into astrology you are, but for people that are really into astrology, so he has 5 planets in Pisces.
Wow. Yeah.
And Pisces is like the oldest souls, right?
Oh, I
So
didn't know.
somebody with more than 3 planets in a sign is a stellium. So to have 5 planets in one sign is a very specific, they're here for a very specific reason. Then you go to the house that it's in, and then you go to the sign that it's in to figure out, okay, what is that purpose? But Pisces is somebody who has a very old soul. He's never called my daughter mom. He calls her Taya, and he calls his dad Gage. He does not call them mom and dad. He never
Wow.
has. He was walking at 10 months old. He potty trained himself. Like, you can tell this kid has been here before a lot, right? So all of a sudden he starts getting obsessed with Titanic. So my daughter just had a Titanic birthday party for him last week. Like, she was like, people are going to think we're crazy, but that's all he wanted was Titanic. And he tells my daughter, but mom, it wasn't the Titanic that sunk. It was and he called it the real name of what the boat was. Because it really was a
Wow. Yeah,
conspiracy.
wasn't it the
They didn't
essence
actually sink the Titanic. They switched the name of it right before it went so they could collect insurance money.
Yeah.
He told me the name. I can't remember right now, but it
Wow.
wasn't the Titanic.
That's like me, like in university, went to history and I studied slavery, and I've always been obsessed with the slavery that's actually still going on. So,
Right. Right.
like what's happening, and that's part of why I wanted to become an activist and all that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
and environmentalism too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's crazy that you kind of know when you're young what happened to you. There's
But
usually
nobody will listen, or
yeah,
you're told, "Oh,
yeah.
you're imagining that," or all those things. But I need to get these cards out and maybe do a reading for him. But my friend Manon just says, "So High Priestess Genius Tarot." She says she was going to back the Kickstarter, but she talked herself out of it because she's into instant gratification, as we all are. By the way, I've never backed anything on Kickstarter. Which one, Manon? Her, because this one is off. Was this on Kickstarter, anyways? By the
Yeah,
way.
it was on Kickstarter because it's sold out, and there was people who asked me to put it on
Okay,
there.
then this was probably
So
my first ever Kickstarter deck,
yeah.
actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think you're the
wow.
reason. So I
Oh
blame
my
you.
gosh.
I blame you for my Kickstarter problem.
Oh my god, okay.
I was trying to think about what was my first Kickstarter deck, and I was one. What,
I blame the group, The Love of Cards, for the love of cards, because I went in that group for a while.
yeah,
Literally, like, I had to buy almost every single deck because
yeah.
of
But yours was. I know that I just didn't remember if yours was a Kickstarter, but yeah. Okay,
yeah.
that's what she's talking about. So, but now you can still get it. If you didn't get it, Manon, and you still want it, you can get it. In fact, I bought 2 copies. I still have a separate copy, but I only got one guidebook. So I have a backup copy of the deck, but not the
I think you
book.
got
So,
two of the non-guidebook ones, but I just threw in a guidebook for you. Just, I
oh,
knew who you
right.
were. You were the
Yeah,
group,
you
yeah.
probably did. Thank you. Oh, I appreciate that. Is the new deck that's coming, it comes with the guidebook though, right?
Yes. It's
Okay.
a similar guidebook, the 4x4. Oh, it's not the big one like that, but it's more
Like the light seers, the kind that are like
yeah, it's more like this
rectangle.
size.
Yeah.
So this is
Nice.
exactly the same book. The only thing is I took the pictures out.
So
So
it will fit in with the with the cards in the
yeah,
box. Okay.
yeah.
Nice. Beautiful. Well, I think that it's a great past life deck. And I have as any past life deck that I can find, I get. I should have got my other ones out. They're over there. I even have a couple that are kind of obscure. And I use, are you familiar with the Carolyn Miss archetype deck?
Yeah, I have that.
I love that for past
So,
life stuff.
yeah, and it's good for dreams and stuff too.
It's not the most like, it's not a beautiful deck or anything. It's kind of boring to look at, but the archetypes themselves and the shadow and the light aspects of it, I think are really good for Akashic records and past life. So, and then your first tarot deck, but did you decide on a name yet?
I think I'm going to go with the 11th Hour Tarot. It was going to be the 1111 Tarot, but I don't have a picture of the cards unless I can share screens. But
I think you can. Let me see if I can figure.
Oh, I can share screen?
I think I can. Present. Share screen. Oh, that wants to share my screen. Let me see if there's a way I can. Maybe if I click you. No. I'm sure there is a way, but I don't know what that way
is. On my website, if you go to mysticmandy.com, holy cow, I'm sweating. I'm having a hot flash. But if you go to my website, mysticmandy.com, it is on the homepage. So
okay. I know I'm warm right now too, but I have this ring light and it brings a lot of heat that I do not appreciate because I'm in that time in my life right now too where I'm actually having hot flashes. Yeah, perimenopause is not a good time. Mystic Mandy. There we go.
But okay. So they have because people, I don't know. Okay, I'll find the card. But people's favorite card in my healer's deck was let me see if I can find it. The bunny one. So I had several people come to me and say, can you make a deck about 1111 and the bunny? And I was like, I'll try.
Like from like Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, kind of like, I'm trying to find the card. Is it in here? Oh, yeah.
Okay, I think I'm sharing now. So, yes, you did share that one with me. It's so cute. Where can I go on the website to show them more?
Oh, it's right on the bottom. So I think it's right
where it says learn more.
Well, you just scroll right down, and I think it'll show the new cards.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Oh, cool. So the personal reading, past life reading. Oh, so the 1111 reading is the one that we just backed, right?
And then go further lower.
Okay.
And then even further low. There you go.
Oh, the 11th Hour Tarot. Cute.
Yeah.
I love the name 11th Hour. I mean, 11th
and it gives it kind of like a timeliness because like a kind of like the 11th hour is about kind of like get to work, get something
right. I think we are in the 11th hour, in fact.
Yeah.
At least I kind of hope so. I don't know how much more I can take if we're not in the 11th hour. There's a deck I got off Etsy. It's technically called The Situations, but it says 1111. Intuitive envisions 1111 on the bottom. So I always think of this one as the 1111 deck, even though it's kind of a twin flame deck.
Yeah, because like that's one of the interpretations of 1111.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I don't know if you can see in the images. There's a little bit of a clock, and there's a bunny, and kind of like an Alice in Wonderlandy type of.
Yeah, it's
you have a mouse and a bird in every card. It's just like, I don't know.
So do you have all the cards finished yet?
I have all the cards drawn, and I have all the cards painted. But the thing is, I was learning watercolor.
Wait, because that's also a question I was gonna ask. So you are like watercolor hand painting these?
No. I mean like digital watercolor.
Okay.
So
nice.
they're all
either way, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, oh my gosh.
I was a fine artist. But like it's more, I do more pastels. I've tried watercolor and I can't manage it. It's too much for me. Like if you make a mistake, you have to kind of rip up your painting and start over. Right. So that's why I like the digital watercolor.
Yeah.
And they're all painted except
beautiful.
I was just learning it. So the first cards that I did, the cups I have to redo them because
this deck
got better. I got better at doing it, and so they look different.
Yeah.
So
So one thing that Mandy and I have talked about off camera is a lot of people are looking for guidance as to how to create their own tarot and oracle decks. I was kind of like nudging Mandy, like hint, hint, hint. I think there's a market for that. So as of today, what did you create?
Well, yeah, I created a course. So I created a course and it includes everything that I could think of. And I also created a Facebook group. So anyone who wants to kind of join and get feedback on their card
Do they need
design.
do they need to purchase the course to join the group, or are
No,
those things separate?
no, but if you it can go along with the course, because if you want to ask questions, or
Right.
say you want to learn things from the course and then practice them and then show them in the group or whatever, but you don't need to. Like, I think
Yeah.
there's enough tarot creators out there or whatever that, we want to support each other anyways. So
Sure. So
um
it's like if you want to learn how to create a course, you can talk about that with other creators. You
yeah,
have a class that you're going to be offering, and then maybe once they are
yeah.
creating, they can share about what they're creating.
Yeah, because there's a lot
Yeah.
with tarot cards. Like, this is one thing I learned. It's like, where do you find a printer? Like,
Yeah.
when I was printing my first deck, I wasn't part of a community, so like I didn't know about these groups. So
Yeah.
I didn't know
Well, what
where.
I find is also kind of like a bummer is you'll see people I interviewed gosh damn it, now I can't remember. Kristen. Her name's Kristen, and she created a beautiful oracle deck, and it's on one of the ones where you can print yourself, but it's like 80 freaking dollars for decks. She makes literally zero
Yeah.
because she
Yeah,
couldn't
and
find a
that's
printer. You have to sell so many of those decks
yeah.
before they'll ever even pay you anything out.
And that's like that what happened to me on Make Playing Cards. Like
I
right
think
now,
that is what it is maybe make
you
playing
add
cards.
edging to a deck. Like, I was telling someone wanted extra cards to the Healers of the Earth Oracle, and just a 12 card deck
Which I'll
was
show that one
almost like
too.
$70 when you put the edging on it. And that's what happened to me too. It's like it would add the little bit amount to your account, and then if you don't make a certain amount of sales in a certain time, it disappears.
Yeah.
So I actually have sales I never got paid for on Make Playing Cards because I just didn't make enough money. So that's when I learned, and this is really bad. It's like, geez, I'm going to have to mark up a lot, like at least $20, just so that, if I only make 5 sales in a year, I'm actually gonna gonna make money.
Right.
So
Well, and if I mean, obviously we pay, at least I do, $80 and more for decks all the time now. That's like the new standard. But if I'm paying that much for a deck, the only way I'm even really able to justify it is I know I'm helping an indie creator.
yeah,
So if that money's not even going to the creator, I don't even feel good about paying that
yeah,
much
it
money for
really isn't. I recommend, like, make the Game Crafter. It's a little better. They don't have as good quality, but it's a little better, and it's a US company, and shipping to the US is going to be a lot cheaper, because I noticed with Make Playing Cards, the shipping just shot up over the last year.
it. Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so it is kind of, it's getting more difficult a little bit with the print on demand. But yeah, you can support, artists there, and creators. And I know people who have really well doing decks on thegamecrafter.com. So
But you'll
um
be able to talk about all of those things. Are in your
yeah,
course, are you going to be talking about also like using apps like Procreate or things like that, or are you going to be mostly just focusing on like the actual publishing and printing part of it in the course?
I cover everything. So even like, I had someone come to me and they were like, I want to create a deck, but I don't know where to start. Like, what tools do I need? Like,
Hmm.
so I cover artists. Like, what if you want, because that was something for me too. What if I want to hire an artist? I was looking
Yeah,
everywhere. I couldn't find
yeah,
anywhere. So
yeah.
I put resources for how to find an artist, how to be your own artist, different software you can use, because a lot of people want to use free software. So I have some Krita walkthrough lessons on there, which is a free kind of Photoshop. And then I have
Hmm.
Photoshop. So, and then I explained, okay, you can download it for a month and do your deck, and then not,
Right,
pay for it after that. But
right.
So I go through almost everything that I kind of struggled with. And then it's like print on demand. And then there's a list of printers that I provide. Just I tried to provide every resource I could, video links and everything, because that was
Awesome.
what I had problems with. Because
Yeah.
my biggest issue was, where do I find things? Like, where, if you Google tarot card wholesale producers, nothing comes up unless you go to Alibaba. And even there, you don't really can't, it's hard to really
Right.
find something.
Right.
So for my first deck, I printed the cards through Make Playing Cards. And I was like, I want a box, but getting a
Which
box.
was the Healers of the Earth, right?
Yeah. But again, getting a box there was like literally it was unaffordable. And so I was like, okay, I got to find someone to make a box. And then I made the boxes and they didn't fit the cards. So 500
Oh,
boxes and they didn't fit the cards.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm
So,
not laughing at it. But that is like,
and I'm
all
an
you can do is laugh.
environmentalist. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I took the time to make sure it was an environmental printer.
Oh,
And then I actually had to reprint cards to fit the box because I didn't want to throw them out. But
right.
things like that, like there's a whole bunch of things. So I have sections on the design element and a lot of sections on links for how to find things. How do you find an editor? How do
Yeah.
you find like a cheap editor? How do you download Grammarly, and use
Yeah.
that as your editor? Everything that could either make it more
Oh,
easy
yeah.
for you
Because I
or less
guess I'm
expensive.
only thinking of the um making the actual oracle or tarot
Yeah.
cards. You got to create a guidebook too.
Yeah, and I go through that, creating a
Yeah.
guidebook, like
Yeah.
how do you do it? Do you
Yeah.
need one?
And like this is
Yeah.
expensive. So you would need Grammarly or something like that. I mean, at least I
Yeah.
would, right? With my Mercury
So
retrograde. What are your thoughts on there's been a little bit of controversy and I'm definitely strongly opinioned on it, but I won't tell you. I will share mine, but I'll let you go first. What are your feelings on the AI art decks?
the AI art, I
Mhm.
don't really know much about that. You mean like AI creating art?
Like you haven't seen any of the deck, like literally every day there's another AI deck on the market right now. One of the
Oh,
bigger ones is from Marcus Katz. He has a group called Tarot Professionals, and I think his deck that he just had a huge Kickstarter, like huge, that ended last month. And I think his is called gosh dang it, I had it on
so
the
he had those AI chat things or
so
whatever?
he used like Midjourney or an app or something like that to create it. And then I do think he then took it from like Midjourney, saved the image, and then went into like a Photoshop type thing to like adjust and add certain elements, right? Because
Okay.
with any
What's
type of
Midjourney?
AI
So
art, Midjourney
is
is what I think he used.
what is it though? Is it
Oh,
like,
you've not used okay. So Midjourney is an app that you can add on Discord.
oh, okay.
So it's a
It makes
server,
things
so not
for
an
you?
app. It's a server on Discord. It's an AI server, and you should try it. It's really cool, and I have it, and I've used it to create like thumbnails and things like that for videos or Instagram. And basically, you're just going to type in like what do you want it to create. So you could do like tarot card, ethereal, if you had a specific rabbit or like
Oh,
pentacle.
wow. Okay,
You
so
just
I'll
have
have
to.
to
So
add
how
that up.
you're creating
Add
it
it to the
through
deck,
your
of course.
language.
Okay.
You're
And it's
giving
like
it
AI
prompts,
drawing it for you, and
and
then
then you hit enter,
okay.
and then it will create. Here, we'll do it live right now because I can pull up my Discord and I'll let you give me some prompts and I'll show you. Now, the process is really cool. And so for that, like but once you've created a few things, to me, they all start to kind of look the same. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it's not that I think anybody should be able to create anything by any means that they want. It's just like, then you're kind of over it. You know what I mean? For me, I just kind of, and maybe it's because I have used Midjourney. I just think it's not the same as if somebody paints
Yeah.
or create, even if they're creating like digital art on their iPad or something. To me, that is more still like true art. I'm trying to find there.
Yeah,
There we
you
go.
want it to be personal. So, but you know, if your deck, say your deck, you're not an artist and you're mostly focused on the message,
Yeah.
then fine. Like, you know, it's just
And
probably
anything is fine. It's just for me
yeah,
personally,
yeah.
I'm probably not going to be purchasing, especially at like $100 when no. For
And
me, it's
yeah.
not, I'm not going to be purchasing that. Let me share screen. Okay, so let me
For
show
me, I
you.
like really pretty artistic decks, so I tend to like people who have like done watercolors or things like that.
Right. Sorry, there's such a glare on my other screen. So let me go to Midjourney Bot. And then what you do is you go to the prompt and you hit \imagine. Okay. So if we were going to create an image right now, we could do something like full moon in Virgo. What other aesthetic would you want? And that's just the theme. So like think of an aesthetic from an art. I am not artistic. So just give me some keywords.
Maybe a crow?
Crow. Okay.
You don't want too much though, right?
What do you want it to be like? Light and ethereal? Do you want it to be dark? I mean, crow, you kind of think dark, right?
What about gothic? Just see what comes
Gothic.
up. Yeah.
Gothic. Um, let's just start with that. We won't get too complicated. And I'll just show you. Then you hit enter. Now, it's going to... My freaking big-ass microphone's right in my way. It's going to create us an image. But it should be creating it. Maybe there's a free version. So if you have Discord, you can go add the Midjourney bot, but then
Okay.
it's busy a lot. It gets busy because so many people are trying to create at the same time. So then they have a like upgraded, faster bot that you can use that I thought that I would think
Goats,
for.
pearls.
So /prompt. Wait, maybe I'm not. Oh, it's /imagine. That's what it is. Okay, so now we have to do it again. Gothic, crow, full moon, Virgo. Okay, let's see. That works. You're not allowed to DM with /commands. I'm not trying to. Sorry, you guys. I swear. Here, let me show you an image that I've created. That's what I'll do. Are you on Discord, Mandy?
I signed up to actually follow you, but I forgot about it.
Okay, so we have a group. We do have a group in there called Magic Illumination with Rhiannon Rambles. Yes, and anybody can join that if you want. But my Midjourney. Okay, so now can you see? So these were some like Yule images that I created.
Oh, wow.
So usually when you do the prompts, it'll give you 4 options. This was for like a Beauty and the Beast prompt.
Wow.
Yeah. So like it's kind of cool, but it's not. Once you've done it, you'll be like,
I like that it's very fantasy-like. I like that kind of
yeah.
stuff.
And you can like totally, but you have to do it with language. Oh shoot, I just
Cool. I'm gonna try that
just closed out.
actually.
So it's called Midjourney, but that's just one of the servers. There are different AI. They're called bots, right? I can't remember some of the other ones, but
What's it called again? Something journey?
Midjourney. Just
Mid-journey.
MID journey on Discord. And then if you're using the free version, you get so many images per month and it's a little bit slower to create. And then I think for like $10 a month, you can upgrade to unlimited and you get your images faster. but then like it'll create the 4, and then out of the 4 you can click one and then have it enhance that even further, and then you can give it a thumbs up and a thumbs down so that it knows if you're and you want to do that. It's just kind of like building your algorithm on YouTube or something, or like it knows what you want based off of what you're watching and what you're thumbsing up. So you want to give it feedback so that it knows if you're happy with it or not. Okay, I'm going to catch up on comments real quick. I don't think it's Discord. There's another app that does it as well. Yeah, there's a couple different AI bots. The only one that I have used is the Mid Journey. The G Shop says, can't wait to finish your deck. You'll check out the page. I will be putting links to Mandy's personal website, her Facebook group. What else?
Oh,
that's it. Your website pretty much has everything else, right?
Yeah.
So once this gets posted on YouTube and then Facebook, I will be putting her link. So anybody that's interested in her course, which you should totally check out. Like, I've never really personally thought I was interested in creating a deck, but maybe it's just because I think it will be so difficult. I don't know. Maybe I'll take the course and then decide, you know.
Yeah,
I definitely know there are plenty of times as a professional reader, I'm like, I wish there was a deck that had X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, so that's how I started.
It's my reasoning for wanting to create it would be more of like
for yourself,
for the utilitarian aspect of it versus more of the art, you know?
Yeah.
But okay, that was going to be some of my other questions too. So when did you start reading? Like, when did you get into divination?
Wow. So I was right 30, and I don't know, my sister bought me a tarot deck and I started reading my friends, and then they started referring me to their friends for paid reading, and the next thing I knew, it was a career. So
you were one of the ones that was gifted a deck.
Yeah, I was gifted a deck.
I do think it's special. People ask all the time, do you have to be gifted a deck? And I always say, no, you don't have to. Of course, you don't have to. I wasn't. No. But I do think it's special. If you were gifted a deck, I think it's really special. And I do think that it's a little bit of a calling, if you will.
You know? It was actually a round deck. It was the Mother Piece Tarot.
Oh, really? I want that deck. I don't know. Is it still available or not?
I think so. I think you can still
I'm just watching one on eBay right now and it's used. But even if something's still in production, I will buy. I like to buy used decks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw it on. I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's still available.
Well, I'm always in the tarot groups like Tim and Ellen's Marketplace. If people are looking for a good place to sell and buy used decks, Tim and Ellen's Marketplace, I think that's what it's called on Facebook is a good one, but then I just check eBay all the time too. And because I buy so many used decks on eBay, they always suggest decks to me, even if I hadn't searched it, you know? So Mother Piece was your first deck and it was round. So that makes sense why.
And it was hard because it was round.
You know, I think the round, I'm okay with the round.
These ones have keywords all the way around because
I love it. Okay, so that one's going to be similar to this one.
Yeah.
This one always, the only thing that ever threw me off about this one, and I guess I kind of wanted to ask, is because you've got the little like dots, right? The little lines.
Yeah.
I'm like, am I supposed to cut these?
No. It's just like a separation. A hard line looked a little bit too harsh. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, I wonder if it's supposed to like fit together or something. You know how certain things, if they were cut, they make like a thing.
Yeah, so that was an idea. Well, it wasn't to cut it, but for people who want to read, there was someone who said they wanted to read, you know, like say you had a reading and you're doing it like this. So they're reading where the cards touch, and then imagine another card here.
Yeah.
So they read wherever the cards touch each other, going by the section. So that's what it's to divide the section. So how the card falls, whatever section is most prominent, you go by that keyword. So
and your deck, this deck is the only deck I've ever seen that has not only that, but then double-sided information.
Yeah. That's what I'm known for, using the backs of my cards too.
So freaking amazing. Because I love that it's a consistent image on the back, but then it's like not just useless. Yeah. It's still like you read with it. Because I am a diehard reversal reader. So I love that, like, you know, if I shuffle, that's part of the whole process, is that it's going to get
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
going to come out the way that it was meant to come out. So if it came up, there's no way that it could be upside down because both sides of the cards are how you would read it.
Yeah.
So cool. Is the new one like that?
The new one doesn't have backs, but it's got the fronts. So
And it will have the different messages all the way around it.
yeah. So
and then these are just to create whatever your own, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like the Carolyn Miss had the create your own archetypes.
And those will be in the new deck too, the level 11 one.
Amazing. Hi, Rochelle. Rochelle says, hi, Rhiannon and Mandy. I love your Past Lives Oracle deck, Mandy, and just backed your new one.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Rochelle is, if you need somebody to like do like a good review for you, she's got a good YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah, she's quite the extensive collection. Much bigger than mine.
Holy cow.
Yeah. She's quite the collector. I just realized that it didn't share out to our Oracle Obsessed group. It's on my private Facebook and it's on YouTube, but it didn't go live on our Oracle group. So that's a bummer. I'll share it, but nobody's able to come in and ask questions. For whatever reason, it didn't work.
Okay, they're saying I'm giving feedback. So let me try a headset and see if it works.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah. Just checked your numbers. You're 279. Oh my gosh, Rochelle. How long did it take you to pull everything out and count it? That's half the reason I don't know, because I'm just too lazy to pull. That's not even everything, so I don't even know how I would count everything when you don't even know where everything's at. Can you hear me, Mandy? Are you good?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm still going through the computer.
But why did you think there was something wrong? Why did you put that on?
Oh, because someone says there's feedback. Mandy is giving feedback. Am I still giving feedback?
I can't hear the feedback.
Okay.
Anybody that's watching, is Mandy still giving feedback when you guys can hear her talk? Please let us know. I'm bummed that it didn't share out to our Oracle group, though. Okay, good. Rochelle says no, she's not getting feedback.
Okay, good.
So yeah, she has a class ready to go. So is the class like a learn at your own pace? Like they purchase the class and then they do it like that? Yeah. Or is it going to be like a live thing?
Yeah, it's going to be a learn at your own pace. So you can do the lessons. There's a lot of videos with most of the lessons. Mm-hmm. So, and then someone asked earlier, I think about the software. So again, I'm teaching on Photoshop and also Krita. So Krita is kind of a free software. So, and I'll show how to make a template and, because I think the biggest part is how to make the actual template and then reuse it. So,
smart.
Yeah. And then, and I also show how to upload to make playing cards and make a deck that way, but I don't really find that makes an attractive deck. So, yeah. But this is kind of like if you want to make something nice, and then again, like you have so many options. You can do a lot of the work yourself, and you could get someone else to template it. There's just so many options you can do if you want to create your own deck, from free to hiring someone. And Fiverr has just so many. Like if you look up tarot design on Fiverr, you can find artists who are
you can probably even find somebody to write you a book.
Yeah, you can hire someone to write you a book, or you can just get them to do the print ready, stuff. I hired someone because I hadn't quite ready to do
like it's already a deck they've created, but then you just buy it.
Yeah. So I use someone on Fiverr too for my tarot, just to clean up the line work a little bit, because I'm not that expert. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I keep learning and I keep growing. But I'm going to check out that Mid-Journey thing, and I'll probably put something.
Oh God. Now you're going to be creating an AI deck, and I'll be like backing it, even though I said I'm not going to buy. I never say never with anything. I'm not the type of person that said, I know that I will change my mind. And I think it's good for people to change their minds. It's just that it's like have you ever cooked something and you like smelling it the whole time and like put all this energy so that by the time you're done cooking it, you don't want to eat it because you're sick of it?
Really? No, I've never had that.
That's how I feel. I could be making the most delicious thing that is my favorite thing, but just the whole act, like Thanksgiving dinner, for instance, so much energy and you're just doing it all day. By the time it's time to eat, I don't even want to eat it because I'm over it. That's
Well,
how I
yeah,
feel
I
about
can see
AI.
that. It's
I
like you
like
get
it, and
stressed.
it was so fun. And when you get on there, it's addicting. When you start creating it, you're going to be, because it's just like endless, and you can be so specific. We only gave it like 4 different prompts. I mean, it didn't work on but the
Wow.
ones I showed you, I had like maybe 5 keywords. But if you get very, very, very specific, and then you can take that image into your editing apps that you're talking about and then add, or,
Yeah, see,
you know,
that's really what I would do is, because it's the same as using Pixabay or something. There's a lot of artists out there who will use, like, reference photos or, stock images, etcetera,
yeah, and then add on.
to use
Rochelle, what's the name of that AI deck that you just bought? Rochelle bought a really pretty one. It is really nice. And it's not the one I was talking about by Marcus. I just can't remember the name of that one. But it does, I don't know if the creator says what server they use, but it does look like Midjourney. Once you start to get into it and you see the different servers, you can kind of see the difference between the servers. She found it on the Sirius Tarot. It's called the Sirius Tarot on
Oh, I
Etsy.
think I've heard of that.
Yeah. And it's really a beautiful deck. But I don't know why I'm just turned off by the AI art, which really I shouldn't be, because it's not really that much different between the difference when people were hand drawing and hand painting all their images to being able to use computer generated stuff,
Yeah. Like,
I don't
I personally, when I get a tarot deck, I like people who've, like, done a lot of their own art and, whether digital I'm not so much into collage
Me
decks,
neither.
even though I made one,
You
but,
did? Which one's
well,
collage?
the Healers of the Earth Oracle is kind of collage art. So, but it's not collage, but it's a form of graphic design where you take,
Okay.
images and you throw them together and you make,
Have you
a
seen the
graphic.
tarot deck? It was an indie deck that's a collage deck, and there's no words or anything on it at all.
Yeah, I don't resonate with that kind of thing.
That
So,
one, I kind of like that you have to just figure it out based off of it, because it made it kind of like a puzzle.
yeah, true.
That
Oh, I
one's
think you
sold out. It's
posted
really
one. You
popular.
posted a picture
No,
with
I
the
don't have it.
tear?
I would want it, but I don't have that
Oh,
one.
because I know you posted a picture of a card with a tear in it, and it
No,
didn't
those are called Dixit cards, and
okay.
they're a board game that you can buy at like Target and Walmart.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a
Yeah,
deck.
I
Okay.
have some right here. So it's actually sold as a board game, and they are just images with no, because it's part of a game. But
Yeah, you
there
could
was a
use that
girl,
as a tarot deck or a
yeah, there was a girl in our group a couple years ago that used to post these almost every day just as like an intuitive exercise. And I do think it's a pretty common thing that people use it. Then they have expansion packs. So you can get the deck that comes in the original board game with like the actual board, which I have back there somewhere. But
that's like
then you can buy,
The Illuminati cards
yeah,
or whatever. You can
yeah.
use those to
I
read.
wish I had those, the original ones, because now they keep changing those. There's different ones all the time, but the original ones, what are, I think I've seen another game that people read with too. I'm trying to think what it is. But I mean, really, if you think about just the beginning of divination, I mean, cartomancy itself, that was a playing game. Or
Well, yeah, people read with poker.
dominoes.
Yeah.
Lenormand,
People read with TV.
was Lenormand playing cards?
I don't know. I just know that tarot came from a game.
The
Um,
Tarochi.
yeah, and there's ways you can use regular poker cards to
Yeah.
do a reading.
Yeah, because divination was like, gonna get you'd get killed for being a witch. So
Yeah, totally.
you had to have a reason to have the cards, right? But yeah, those are called Dixit. But the collage one, it's a again, Rochelle will probably know, but there's a collage deck that was an indie creator. It's completely sold out. Now they're going for like $500 a piece because you can't
Holy
get one.
cow.
And it looks like it looks like she ripped like images from like a magazine. You know how they used to make like letters, like ransom letters, and they'd like tear
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and you'd have to figure out what it said, almost kind of like a not a quiz, what's it called? Um a riddle, like a
Yeah.
riddle. You have to figure it out. But it was really, I don't like collage decks, but I do wish I got that one because it is kind of cool. And obviously now, yes, the ritual tarot. It's called the ritual tarot because now it's
See,
on.
this is
A
called
lot of them I just like to
collage.
collect.
See, this is a different kind of collage. So it's like the graphic designer had a background image and they put a foreground image. So they took different images and they pieced them together and
See,
made them
but
look like
somebody
whole.
like me would never know
Yeah.
that. Like I feel like an
Yeah.
artist might know that, but I would just look at that and think, oh, cool. You
Yeah.
know?
So, I mean, there, if you can tell if you look close enough, but I tried to kind of edit them so to kind of edit that out as much as possible.
Yeah.
So, so it
Because
does look like
typically
a
I'm not into it.
different.
That's a lot of the they have several decks. The Intuit. The Intuit decks are kind of collage too, aren't they? Like the Intuit, Twin Flame, and Oracle, and Tarot decks. You know what brand I'm talking about? Mandy, can you hear me?
Oh, what deck? Sorry. Yeah,
That's okay.
I don't know a lot of decks,
You're
unfortunately.
fine. The Intuit decks that are like the little
Mhm.
Twin Flame ones, they've got some Tarot and Oracle, but I think
Okay.
those are collage.
Collage?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't care for them. And I don't like the
You know
backs of their decks.
the real pastel, I forget what they're called. Um, something of light, but they're all pastel pinky colors. Um, I can't remember the name of the deck, but it's really, really popular.
Are they like
Um,
mass market, like the Rebecca
yeah, it's a
Campbell
mass
decks?
market, and that one's collage, but that's a different form of collage. If you look
Mhm,
carefully, it looks like digital images pieced together, but it's
mhm.
all, I don't know if you know the deck, but it's kind of like a really pale pink with a pale blue, and it was super, super popular for a while.
It makes me think of the Rebecca Campbell decks, but I don't know. The She
Yeah,
Lion is
let me
what
see if I can find it on Amazon.
Rochelle says the She Lion or Work Your Light. Yeah, Work Your
Yeah,
Light is the
I
Rebecca.
think it's Work Your Light.
Yeah, that's the Rebecca Campbell ones, I think. Oh, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, Work Your Light, that's it. So that's
Mhm.
collage.
Yeah,
So,
that is.
and if you look close enough, you can see it's kind of images pieced together. So,
Oh, yeah. But see, I would have never paid attention to that.
yeah. So that's the Healers of the Orthor Oracle. I'm using the same kind of process.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, and she's got 3 decks and they're all kind of similar.
yeah.
Work Your Light, the Star Seed, and then
Starseed, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
the new one is the Rose Oracle, I think. No, but now I need to look up the She Lion. I wonder what the She Lion deck
And I
is.
just could not get into Doreen Virtue. I just didn't find her cards pretty. So I think for that
No,
reason that, you know,
I am just glad that I got the Doreen decks that I did because I got them back when Hay House used to do $5
yeah.
sales. Remember they used to do like now they do 50% off, but they used to do every deck was
Yeah, every deck
$5.
was like $5 or $6.
And
They
now they're just
what they're
collector's
doing
items.
is they're actually, you know, like because indie authors, I think what they're doing is saying, "Oh, look, the indie authors, you know, are selling them for $45." So they started selling
45.
them for the
Even
same
now,
price.
I think a $45 deck nowadays is like pretty cheap for an indie deck.
Yeah.
Most Kickstarters, you're not going to be out the door for less than $80 most of the time.
And it's just sad because like for a mass marketed deck, like their printing prices and everything, they're just so much cheaper. And
Oh,
so
for
when
sure.
we print a deck, we have to print in smaller print runs and then you have to ship
But
overseas.
if Hay House comes to you and they're like, "Hey, Mandy," which I don't know why they wouldn't, honestly, you want to print your past life deck, like, now somebody else owns those rights, so you couldn't do it with that one. But with your other decks, what if they want to buy
Yeah,
out
but
on that?
like I guess I'd be open. It would be depending on what they did with it.
Right.
If they cheapened it or anything, I wouldn't want
Right.
that.
Are you familiar with the transient tarot? Because he was really like dead set. He had done a Kickstarter, made sure that like everything was recycled, completely like eco-friendly. And so he sold it to Hay House, but he made them in the contract say that they would use and source all their materials the same way that he had for the indie deck, and they did.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah, you can have a say so on things like that when
Oh, I didn't know that.
you
Yeah.
sell. Yeah, that's a cool deck. And that deck is like completely genderless. It's just like there's no gender themes at all, and the card stock is like natural, like there's no bleach or dye or anything.
Is
Like
it
100%
Transient
natural.
Light Tarot?
Yeah,
Okay.
which it was a Kickstarter, but then now
I
it's
remember
on.
that. I remember it on Kickstarter.
Yep,
Yeah.
and then Hay House bought it, so it launched on Hay House mass market, I think, like last October ish.
I wonder where he printed too. I know the
He's
printer I
very
use
nice. He's
Ornamental.
very nice. I don't know him personally, but I did a little YouTube walkthrough of his deck, and he just, thanked me, which is like more than most creators do, and I just thought that was really nice. He's from UK though.
Okay.
He's really nice. I can't think of his
I'll
name.
have to
Travis?
ask
Is his
him.
name Travis?
And then the other deck that I liked that was environmental was the, oh my God, I gotta forget the name. It had animals in it. Oh my gosh, I forget the name.
A tarot or an oracle?
It was a tarot, but it was completely the.
It's not the Fauna Bell, is it?
No, hold on a second. I got it. Just let me go get it. I got it right
Yeah,
here.
grab it. I want to see it. Manon says you live at Hay House. I know. I still haven't ordered my box yet, Manon. Why am I calling you Manon when I know it's Mignon? Minnie. I'm calling you my friend's name again.
It's this one, the 3 trees.
Oh, yeah.
Oak, ash, and thorn.
Yeah, but that's not.
I tried to find her
market. That's just an indie deck, right?
Yeah, this is yeah, she had a Kickstarter.
And then she did the dragon one after it, or what's it called?
Yeah, I just love this deck.
Yeah, I wish I would have got that. It's beautiful. And she's also from UK, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And I looked
maybe they use the same printer. That's what I'm thinking.
I actually looked up her printer, and then it took me, the person who contacted me back was from a China printer. So it's weird how deceptive they're becoming, with these printers. It's like, it says it's a UK printer, but if you contact through the site, it's
still through China.
Yeah, it's Kingstar. So
all roads lead to China on printing.
Which I am using China to print my, I like it. It's the girls, they're really sweet. They did the Wheel of Fortune tarot, so they're really sweet, but it's hard to find someone. And again, that's where I'm not an expert, is finding printers outside of China. I tried to find
maybe they're really maybe there just isn't, it's not feasible.
Oh, put this on. Yeah, so yeah, it's just they don't know how to cut cards, and if they're outside of China. So my first deck was printed in Ottawa, but
oh really?
Yeah, they didn't do any card trimming, the rounded edges. They did.
They just came in like sheets?
Yeah, they just came like a square. So, but yeah, so if you want nice cards, I think you almost have to use China in most cases.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is for now anyway. Unless somebody wants to, start a printing company for all of these deck creators, I can see some money there.
It's really weird, because over the last few months, like I was part of a group to, that's trying to build an intentional community. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like trying to go off grid or whatever.
Yeah.
And so the property we're looking at actually has a game printing company on it, and they want to buy this company with the property and then make money doing these.
Hello, that sounds like destiny.
Yeah.
So you're like,
I'm actually like talking to them after this call, because like they're picking my brain.
Where's the land at?
Yeah. So hopefully
where's the land at? Is it up in Canada?
It's outside of Ottawa. So I think it's around Smith Falls, if anyone knows where that is. But
well, that a lot of people are saying with Saturn moving into Pisces today, and it'll be there for the next 3 years, that a lot of cults are going to pop up.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not saying intentional living communities are cults, but many are.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm okay with, honestly. If I would have been... Did you ever watch the Netflix special Wild Wild Country? That was about... It was
No.
about Osho Zen.
Yeah, the one, see, the way I see an intentional community is kind of like, I guess, I don't know if it's an eco community. So like everyone has their own property
Right.
and there's no sharing of any resources. There's no shared spirituality. A lot of people are going to be spiritual, but
Right.
um a lot of Republicans
Yeah.
are joining these things because they
Yeah.
want a way out of um some of these, they see the system as,
Because I don't want to move into a smart city.
yeah, exactly.
I can either
So,
try to move into my own intentional community or I'm going to end up in a smart city.
yeah, they're scared. So,
AKA, I am scared. I'm scared of smart cities.
well, yeah, like I'm a little like, and I'm a total environmentalist and I'm kind of scared. I
No,
don't know
no.
how wise it is to put the environment in the hands of these elites. But
It was never a good idea, but I think we're in too deep.
yeah,
My friend
we've
Minnie
we've
says
done
she's
too
gonna check
much.
her Osho Zen deck. Yeah. I don't think you need to check your Osho Zen. I would, anybody that has that deck, I would encourage you to go watch the documentary. It's very entertaining. It's like hours long. It's like 8 episodes of like an hour each.
Is this about Osho? Like
Yeah.
the Osho guy? Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
used to like Osho.
They called him the gosh, now I can't, the bog, not Bhag. I always mix it up with Bhagavad Gita, but it's like the Bhagwan, which is like his name is like Oh Holy One or something, kind of like the Bhagwan. Bhagwan, that's what they called him. But it is the story of Osho Zen, and he had a huge intentional community in the 80s in Oregon, like thousands and thousands and thousands of acres. And they were sending buses to places like New York City and Chicago and just gathering up their homeless people and then transporting them across the country to their city in Oregon.
Wow.
But it was so efficient. Like, you know, that obviously the government, just like they did with Waco, they're going to make them out to be like complete whack jobs. I'm not saying he wasn't laundering money or anything like that. I don't know. But
Well,
also,
he
like,
was
fuck
kind
the
of Osho
government.
was kind of a cultish, if it's the same
Oh,
guy.
it was a cult. It was.
Yeah.
But if I would have been old enough to like join, I would have. And even now, after watching the documentary, I'd still like probably join.
But you could say the same of Christianity and like,
Yeah.
early Christians, if you know anything about early Christianity, it was all like different groups.
Right.
So people often think it's just Catholic and then it branched off. It was the other way around. It was tons and tons of different groups. There were
Right.
a lot of prophet-led groups back then too. But a lot of it was getting away from decentralization. So,
Right.
but there was a heavy religious component, which I'm not okay with that. I think everyone has to believe what they're gonna believe.
Right. Right.
But yeah. But
But
so this group
I'm
was,
not against. I'm not against like that type of thing, though. You know, I think
yeah. So this
they
is
do.
more like an eco community. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like you'll have the opportunity to kind of live in a community because it's hard to go eco-friendly on your own. So it's kind of like sometimes you get people together and then you can find a way to kind of you each own your own piece of the land. So it's not like a commune. So
Yeah.
commune is you all own the land.
That's when it
Yeah.
becomes culty. There's a leader. He
Yeah.
has all the
You have
power.
to pool your money. Yeah,
Ultimate power corrupts ultimately, no matter what
exactly.
the intention is. When somebody gets that much power, they tend to not do the right thing with it, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, it used to be on Netflix. I don't know if it still is, but it's called Wild Wild Country. And I think it was a Netflix original, the documentary about that. But
I like all the tiny home ones. Like so that's what I would end up watching.
mhm,
Usually on YouTube, all those like
yeah.
people who were living in tiny
On
homes.
YouTube, do you know they have like, I don't even know, like 7 million or more, or maybe it's even up to like 20 million. They have an off-grid community outside of Vancouver, and Jake and Nicole, and they just had a baby boy. What is their channel called? Do you know who I'm talking about? And they live like right off of the ocean between like Seattle and Vancouver, but it's technically in British Columbia. And then they just bought a second off-grid community, like their bug out location over like near Hawaii in some island. And they're gonna have like a boat just in case there was like no travel, that they could get from this place in British Columbia over to their island. So they're going to live over there in the winters because obviously Canada is like snowy and cold. And they already have like they have like yurts and all their own fruit trees. I'll have to send you the link.
That's my dream. Like I've even had dreams where I'm living in a geodesic dome.
Yes, there's a community outside of Arizona here too in the States where people all build like earth ships.
Yeah.
And live, but I've heard that community can get a little sketch.
Yeah, I guess any community could. You just have to have really strong boundaries and not get stuck.
Well, it attracts a lot of anarchists, you know.
Yeah.
By
but
nature.
The group that I'm part of, like, there's literally everyone. There's environmentalists, there's anti-vaxxers, there's
Well, I'm planning to move to Mexico, so I don't know. If that doesn't work out, maybe I'll head up to Ottawa.
Yeah, true. Like I'm chemically sensitive, so yeah.
I'm out of here. I'm not gonna end up I'm not getting rounded up for no.
Yeah, but do you know what's happening in Canada? So
not good things.
We have all these like changing maid laws and things like that, and they're
wait. What's that? What does that mean? Changing maid?
Maid is medical euthanasia, and
if anything's wrong with you, they're basically like, that's expensive. Are you sure you don't want to die?
Exactly,
sure and kill yourself.
There's cases where veterans are calling suicide hotlines and they're being offered maid.
Yeah, I can't.
Even my daughter, she's like, like she's really scared of all this stuff. So
how old's your daughter?
She's in her 20s.
Yeah.
So
my daughter too. I mean, she's got a little, my granddaughter is going to be 1 year old on April 4th. And it's like, I can't imagine raising little kids in this world right now.
But I know a long time ago, I got the message and it was for a lot of clients and I kept hearing, go south, go south. So maybe
that's where I'm going.
Yeah, maybe we should go to Mexico. I don't really know much of what's happening in Mexico, but
Mexico is, I mean, it's beautiful, but like in the United States, I don't know how, well, actually where I'm planning to go in Mexico, it's like most of the expats there are from Canada.
Wow.
Huge population of Canada. The place specifically I'm looking at is called Todos Santos, which is outside of Cabo San Lucas. So it's part of the Baja Peninsula. So it's still like connected, like you go to California and then it's, so it's not on it's on the Pacific Ocean, and then the Gulf, what is it? The Sea of Cortez is in the middle. So it's still like very drivable to United States if I needed to drive back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Where are you now? Are you in
Utah?
Utah. Okay. Is that South US or is that mid US?
It's considered Midwest.
Okay.
Because it's like me, Arizona, California. Me, Nevada.
Yeah, I kind of know the bottom ones, Arizona. But being Canadian, I don't know too much.
Right. But yeah, I'm out of here if because we're having all these trains derail like every other day.
Yeah, that's scary. Like as an environmentalist,
in my city last Thursday, one just happened and I didn't even know because I don't watch the news.
Yeah,
there were 5 train cars and like 5 minutes away from me with sodium hydroxide. I can't remember what chemical that.
So they all had chemicals? Because I know train
crashes. Conveniently, the ones that spilled.
Oh my God, that tipped over. Scary. That's scary. And what I don't understand is like, this is the environmentalist in me. It's like, if these people care about climate change, why isn't it in the news? Like, why isn't it,
right.
Because
then it's going to be, because then more people are going to be aware when it's happening in every single city. If right now you just Google train derailment, it'll say today, and then it'll just pull up city after city after city after city.
Wow.
Where trains are derailing right after they pass a law to basically say, well, if we deem your land unsafe, we can take your land. It's worth nothing. You can't sell it. It's basically.
So this might be a land grab.
It's not might. It's 100% a land grab.
And then I know they want to.
How else are they going to get you in the 15-minute city? Because they're going to say, okay, here, instead of calling it a FEMA camp, you can't sell your house. You're broke. If you could afford to leave, you would. So they're going to say, come to our. We just happen to have the city built. Come here. We'll give you a house. We'll pay for all your food. Here's your chip. Oh, by the way, you can only leave with permission. You can't travel more than 15 minutes outside more than 100 times a year.
Some of those starting in Alberta or something. I think Vancouver. These 15.
But it's all under the guise of climate change, and it's like.
And it's fine. Like, I would be okay with all of that stuff, but being chemically
If
sensitive,
I trusted the
that scares
government,
me,
which
the
I
idea
definitely
that
don't.
some derailment or something, it's just like,
Well, a lot of people, and I mean, I'm not against, I'm open to any theory, is that there's not actually the chemicals out there that they say there is. They're just saying that to get you off your land, because obviously they don't really want to ruin the land, right? So
oh.
I guess in a way I'm hopeful that that's what it is that they're not really seeping these chemicals into the groundwater. They're just
Well,
saying that they are.
I heard the opposite, and there's pictures, and there's people saying no one will take it seriously, and these people
Yes, but see, the problem
dropping
is we don't know
blood.
what to believe because you can't
Yeah,
trust the
true,
media and you
yeah,
can't trust anything. So unless you're
true.
there and your own eyes are burning from chemical, like how can you do? You cannot trust a single thing that you see on the internet on from anybody, not the news and not even like people.
Well, I live in Ottawa, and we had the trucker protests here, right?
Yeah,
So we had a lot of people, like, of all kinds. It had nothing to do with politics. They just
right,
wanted to go down and see what it was like.
right.
And then you can still, I think, watch live streams. And then you go home and you watch the news.
And it's
And
extremists, right wing extremists.
yeah, and they were
Yeah.
feeding the homeless, and they were shoveling the streets, and people were crying because they'd been locked up for so long, and
Yeah.
they felt a sense of, community or
Yeah.
whatever, having a good
Yeah.
time
Hope
again.
and hope.
Yeah, and then you go home and you turn on the news, and it was like,
Yeah.
wow. Like, I didn't go, but I watched some of the live streams, and I
Well,
knew
that's a
certain
lot of what really woke me up because most of my life was more on the left-leaning liberal side of politics, right?
Yeah, same here. I'm an
But I've
environmental.
always been a natural person. So
Yeah.
I was anti-vax before it was a political thing. And once that became like so polarizing to where by me not wanting to take like an experimental medication basically made me an extremist.
Yeah, that was scary. That's scary for me too. Like, I was totally like,
It
I
it
was such into
pushed me
the
it pushed me
anti-Trump
into a
thing.
camp. I
Yeah.
didn't go there because I wanted to. I literally got put over there by my own
You were
people.
put in a camp?
No, but like a
Oh.
political camp. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay, yes.
Luckily where I lived during the pandemic was pretty open. Like we really had a lot more freedom than like let's say California or
Yeah.
other places. Like I didn't have to well, I work from home too and I never leave my house, but you know, we were pretty lucky in the United States. But yes, I know a lot of people in Canada that were struggling with getting fired from their jobs, being threatened, being called
Yeah, and our PM
names.
was like, I used to love Trudeau. Like, I loved him. I just thought he was so
Yeah,
great. And then the minute he said that the unvaccinated took up some space and it needed to, that I thought that was weird because I've studied history too. And people arguing against the Nuremberg Code, that I
right.
just could
Red
not
flag, red
understand.
flag, red flag.
Yeah. So again, I don't know if I'm going to be attacked for saying all this stuff
Yeah,
later.
I don't care. I just feel like we're living in times where we
Yeah, you
can't
kind of
be
have
worried
to.
about being
Yeah,
canceled.
exactly.
My whole thing is I just don't ever want to like make anybody feel alienated because I'm honestly like such an open-minded person and I'm afraid that they are going to think I'm some extremist because they've been told somebody that doesn't want to take this is this person. But that's
Yeah.
not who I am actually at all. That's not who I am. It was funny because somebody was asking me the other day. I did an interview on somebody else's channel, and they were asking me when I started my YouTube channel, and I was like, "Well, if you scroll all the way through, my first YouTube video that I ever made, like back in 2009, was me speaking out against the Gardasil vaccine because
Yeah.
my daughter was 12 years old, and they were sending me." They were trying to bribe
Wow.
me with a $50 gift card to take my daughter in on her 12th birthday and give her the Gardasil vaccine. And my intuition immediately went off and it was like, why do they need to bribe me? If this is healthy for her, if this is so good for her, why do I need to have a $50 gift certificate to Walmart to go get her in?
Yeah, that's a bit strange too.
Right. So, but prior to that, I had given my kids all their vaccinations. That was the first one, and I didn't give it to her ever, and still she's never had it. And then I never gave it to my younger daughter. And now, if I could go back, I wouldn't have given them anything.
Is Gardasil mandatory?
Gardasil is not. mandatory. And luckily where I live, we've always had religious exemptions.
Okay.
Like, again, places like California and different places you can't send your kids to school without them, but here we can. But it's highly, highly, highly pushed and told that it prevents cervical cancer, which is a blatant lie. It doesn't prevent cervical cancer. It can prevent one strain, which is the least likely strain that anybody would get anyways. And I have a friend who's like child literally like is paralyzed from the neck down from it. I mean, I can't get into all the stuff. I don't want to make it into a whole anti-vax thing, but my whole point is just I believe in personal choice.
Well, yeah.
Period. If you want to get it and it feels good for you and it feels good, like a good choice for you and your children, then you should do it. And if it's not a good choice for me and my family, then I shouldn't have to.
Well, the sad thing for me is like, like there's a lot of things I'm pretty open person, live and let live, etc.
Yeah.
But like I have multiple chemical sensitivity. Like I don't take
Right.
anything.
Right.
I had to worry, like, what if, I had actually had thoughts, I wrote a will, like I was just like,
what if you would have had to have taken it?
Hurts me, like.
Yeah. Like, so, were you worried that like you were going to have to like, they were going to come to your house and like inject you with it or what?
Well, yeah, right.
I mean, it was getting that bad for a while.
They were saying that everyone, like, it got to the point where it's saying it was mandatory for everyone.
Yeah.
And then the Canada, protest. And that was, I had a feeling, like I always read that in March, things were going to calm down. So I wasn't too scared. But the summer before I think, I left social media.
Yeah. Well, I closed down the page for 6 months.
Because I wasn't doing well. I was scared. I was afraid of saying anything.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cruel what people did to, I guess.
I have people that I was friends with for 20 years that were in the room when my kids were born, best friends, sisters who won't speak to me to this day.
Yeah, luckily I never had to go through that, but I was pretty quiet. I didn't, I haven't been open, and to each
I'm a loudmouth.
I understand everyone's afraid too.
Yeah.
So it's everyone's afraid, whether it's the left or the right.
But I felt like I was in a position because I work for myself. I felt like I could speak out because they can't fire me. So I felt like I'm in a position where I can use my voice. So I felt like I have to.
Yeah, and good for you.
Because, and I did, but I lost a lot of relationships, a lot of people, and that's a small price to pay, I guess.
Yeah, like if people, and like what I had to just realize is whether it's anti-vaxxer or vaxxer, or if it's left or it's right, everyone's just afraid. Like it's just really everyone's.
None of them have our best interests.
And
right now.
People, like, I think on both sides there's thought that there's a best interest. So like, if,
I wish it was true.
Just see that, it's just everyone. It was a very chaotic time. Everyone's afraid. Yeah. No one knows who to believe or what to believe.
Yeah.
And people are just, scared. And so,
but now a lot of people are like, okay, we're safe. We lived through that, so we can rest. They're on to the next move.
Yeah,
and if we don't keep up, it's gonna we're gonna be living in those 15-minute. I say stop calling it a 15-minute city and call it a concentration camp, because that's what it is. These are not these are not for the environment, and even if it is, it's gonna affect your freedom. But I think what's interesting when you were talking about the death, or what do they call it? Medical assisted suicide, right?
Yeah, that's when I started to get really like.
But I remember like 10 years ago, there was a documentary that came out in the United States, and I remember being so pro that. And I was like, yeah, of course you should, because they show people that have been suffering with cancer for like, endless amounts of chemo that are basically on their deathbed. And I think to myself, of course, you shouldn't have to suffer. If you're able to put your pet down with compassion, why shouldn't somebody who's literally like on their deathbed be able to decide that? That's what they show you to make you pro that. But then what happens is these are not the people they're trying to get to kill themselves. It's literally healthy young people, like you said, veterans who served their country, who have mental illness and PTSD that just need help. And instead they're like, nope.
Yeah. And there's people like they're making it, like, again, don't quote me on this, but there's something about making it so people with mental disorders can get it, and
Yeah.
also children without parental consent. And the
Oh
only
my
reason
God.
I was concerned is because as an environmentalist, I knew something called sustainability, the Sustainable
Right.
Development Goals,
Right.
and there's something called sustainable medicine. And right before COVID, I was learning about, what sustainable medicine
But
was.
it
And
means
then,
the population.
yeah, it's basically, um, your care won't be governed by you anymore. It's governed by a committee.
Yeah.
And this is why I think children aren't, they're making the parents are not making the choice anymore for their children.
Right.
So, and they're gradually taking it away. But the idea is, if you look up sustainable medicine and duty to die, that's where things kind of,
Duty to die. Wow.
yeah, there's medical ethics now saying that we all have, and again, um, this isn't in stone or anything. There's
Right.
just people writing some articles about it.
Right.
But this idea that we do all have a duty to die. And again, some of this, it's hard not to agree with it.
Yeah,
But
I know, but we have to realize that we've been being programmed
yeah,
for the past 20, 30 years since we were in looking back, our whole education was setting us up for all of the stuff they're implementing now.
yeah.
For us
We
to
can
basically
handle a lot of
see
the
ourselves
environmental
as a
stuff, but when it
cancer
gets
on
to
the earth.
medical, yeah, the medical stuff scares me because
Back in 2008 here, in United States, back when we were voting on universal health care, I mean, I was literally going and door knocking for the Obama campaign. I mean, when I tell you that I was a Barack Obama through and through, I mean, loved
yeah,
him,
I
but
loved him
also
too. Yeah.
100% pro what we call single payer healthcare, right? We
Yeah.
were we were supposed to be getting single payer. We did we ever get single payer? No. And then when Bernie was running, that he was supposed to be getting a single payer too. 100%. I'm like, absolutely, healthcare is right. And I still, if that's what it really was about, yes, of
Yeah, if it
course it
was
is.
like Canada
But
healthcare.
now you can't unsee what the plan was, which was
Yeah.
then they get to tell you what you can do with your body. You have to take this. We control it, so now you, again, ultimate power corrupts ultimately. These systems, again, it doesn't matter who it is, it doesn't matter if it's a left or a right side, none of it was ever for our health care or any
Yeah.
kind of care for
Yeah.
us. None of it is. I wish it could be. I wish I could go back and be so like blissfully naive that like somebody's going to come and have our best interests and save us, but like that's not what it is. That's not what it is. That's not what any government healthcare system is for. It's not to take care of us.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
to take
like,
care of us.
and right before the pandemic, well, a few years before, I'd written a couple books because a lot of the message I was getting was kind of like, look, you need to wake up, you know,
Mm-hmm.
we need to stop,
You're right, Rochelle.
supporting a lot of these corporations, and we need to kind of talk about law of supply and demand and how
Mm-hmm.
we're contributing to a lot of this through law of supply and demand. And it's, everything that's happened is kind of like, wow, because we are creating all this. We have
Mm-hmm.
created all this. The only
Mm-hmm.
way out is really through our consumer
Yeah.
choices, our
Yes, I
consumer,
agree.
because I've been, as an environmentalist, I'm not into corporate takeovers.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't trust them, that they're
Yeah.
going to know how to take care of the environment and all this. So
No.
it's like us. It's really,
They know how to lobby the lawmakers and pad their
yeah,
pockets to adjust the laws so that they can get away with it and then call themselves environmentalists or call themselves, you know,
but it's
caring
only
about this.
because, and then I know another psychic who said, well, this is only happening because we weren't going to do anything. So,
I
um,
believe that to a certain
yeah.
extent. I
So,
believe that we had to be woken up
we
for
have to
real.
accept responsibility
Yeah.
and I think if the worst happens, the only way out of this, and I remember being shown in 2012, like, through dreams and stuff,
Mhm.
the future is going to be going off grid, because that's going to be the only way that
Yeah.
um, you can escape. Even if it's just going off grid, just means you're not going to buy from Amazon. You're going to try
Right.
to go back to cash.
I think it'll be more extreme than that.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit. I think there's going to be people who choose to kind of just walk away, and that's kind of what I've seen in dreams. Is
Yeah.
that there's going to reach a point in society, and I don't know if it's a disaster that happens or
Right.
something, but I just see people living kind of off grid in some sort of way and starting over.
Did you
And
ever watch Mad Max and Waterworld?
yeah, so
Like those
I
movies?
saw Mad Max. I didn't see Waterworld, but it won't be like what I saw wasn't that violent. It was more people joining together. But I'm sure,
Good.
like, if things fall apart,
Yeah.
which they already are, and there's all this violence happening, etc.
Yeah.
Yes, there's that. But when people, there will be groups of people who kind of that's what
Well, I'm
people
hoping
say
to get
now,
a head
living with their
start.
neighbors.
I'm
Yeah,
hoping to get a head
before
start.
COVID, me and my neighbors and we were all talking about, okay, if something happens, we know how to, well, at least she did. She knows how to store water or find water or
Yeah.
whatever under the
Yeah.
ground and
Uh,
gardening and all that
I think
stuff.
they know that, so they're tipping train cars over on
Yeah,
that.
true.
Hopefully
And
you got a
I don't
Berkey.
know. But you have to kind of believe that, we are creating this. If we
I
create it,
do.
we can uncreate
Yeah.
it, you
And
know?
that's when I go back and forth between like, okay, stop hyper focusing on it because
Yeah.
I'm feeding into it. It's like this perfect balance of being aware to try and change it, because if you're not aware of it, you can't change it. And
Yeah.
then being hyper focused on it and then basically assisting them by feeding my energy into the creation of it.
Exactly.
It's a very
So, and I have read
tactful.
this. I don't know if you've read this, but I get like there's going to be something temporary to it. So they might set all this stuff up, but I don't know if they're going to succeed in just really
Temporary of what part of it though?
like what their plans. So these digital IDs and all this stuff. I
Yeah.
do get them coming in permanently.
Mm.
So
Well,
I
then hopefully there's some kind of extraterrestrial,
yeah, and that's funny because like
enforcement
a
coming
lot of
in.
psychics I know have seen some sort of, I don't know if it's like real or if it's going to be false, whatever, but there's
Right.
going to be some sort of extraterrestrial something.
Yeah.
So to all
I
this.
remember back before 2012, there were a lot of different nuclear plants that kept getting shut down that people believed were extraterrestrials
Yeah, see
intervening.
that's what then I was just going to mention that. There's something like that I saw coming this summer, and I wonder if it's like a nuclear thing, but in that I don't know if that's going to bring.
I do think that's the one situation that would for sure bring in the
Yeah.
Galactic Federation, because
Yeah.
they can't really intervene with a lot of things with free will. But a nuclear type situation could have those effects that would go out to the universe. So I do think if it gets to that point, they will 100% come in and stop it. Did you hear about, because you're in Canada, so I don't know if you heard about it, but in 2018, there was a missile threat in Hawaii.
No.
I was there when that happened, and
Wow.
I know beyond a shadow of a doubt there was a missile coming,
And they stopped it?
and
Yeah.
I think they stopped it.
Yeah,
Not
that's
we. It
my
was,
only
I
like,
think, the Galactic Federation. I can feel a different. In fact, sometimes I go, "Did I die that day?" and jump onto some other timeline.
wow.
Truly, I can't explain to you I've never felt any kind of energy like it. We were there for my 40th birthday, so it was 4 years ago or 5 years ago because I just turned 45. It was in January, and we were on the island of Kauai, and we got woken up at 7:30 a.m. All of our phones were going off, and it kind of sounded like an Amber Alert. I don't know if you guys have those in Canada.
Yeah.
But it was much louder and it sounded much scarier. And we looked down at our phone and it said, "Urgent. This is not a drill. Imminent threat, ballistic missile incoming. Seek higher ground now." And different variations of that went off for 45 minutes.
Wow.
And I'm like, what do we do? We're tourists. Where do we go? I'm like filling up the bathtub with water. I didn't know what to do. I'm calling my kids, and we're 5 hours behind United States. So it was like noon here, because I thought to myself, if I die, and I could have said goodbye. And my children's father died in 2014, so they're already down a parent.
Wow.
So I thought, if I don't call them, and I could have, so I'm like saying my goodbyes to my kids. It's the most crazy experience that I've ever had in my life. And I don't know if you know anything about Hawaii, but the islands have like roosters everywhere. They're just like,
Of course, we didn't hear about that.
Chicken and roosters. If you search it, it was a huge thing. And it was a threat at the time because Trump was still in office. Kim Jong-un and Trump were kind of having a little bit of a back and forth. And the roosters, you know how they say animals always know what's going on?
Yeah, animals know, yeah.
These roosters on that island are literally crowing from sun up to sundown. You will never hear silence. And for that 45 minutes, not one rooster crowed. I swear not even the ocean waves were making noise. It was completely eerily silent.
Wow.
And people that were on the island of Oahu, or is it, I forget the island names and the city names, but wherever Pearl Harbor was.
Yeah.
The people that were on the beach, they're seeing a huge big explosion out over the ocean. So that must have been where it got mitigated, and the missile that was coming got.
Was it a nuclear missile or just a regular missile? Nuclear? Mm-hmm. Holy cow.
Well, now, so then the official story was that it was during shift change and one of their workers accidentally hit the button. That was the official story on the news.
Wow.
Wait, do you think that this is 5 years ago? Do you think there's just a button? Do you think there's just a button just sitting out where somebody could accidentally touch it? It's a password coded computer program that probably 3 different people have to enter their passwords in to do that, to send out that message. You think it's just a button?
Yeah, see, that just makes sense. Yeah.
So we were never told that there was officially a missile. We were told it was a false alarm. There was no missile, and that somebody accidentally hit the button that sent out the alerts. And it wasn't just one alert. It was several alerts over 45 minutes. And they were different messages. Not all of them were the same. So there's just no way you can tell me that there wasn't a missile in the air. But you can go, I think Joe Rogan, different podcast people were interviewing people, but yeah, I was there when that happened. Yeah, they were totally lying. It was the craziest experience of my entire life.
That'd be scary. Wow.
It was so surreal. And then with the craziness of this past, 3 years with the pandemic, I literally do ask myself, like, maybe I die and I'm on some level of hell, or this is my punishment living, because this world is not the world I lived in.
Yeah, I've always felt that. I always felt Earth is hell. And then
I do think Earth is hell for sure, no matter what.
Yeah. And then even when you talk about the book of Revelations, it seems like we're following it pretty closely.
Yeah. Yes, we are.
But
have you heard about the
fire, the people drowning in the lake of fire? I always took to be like environmental. Like it's yeah.
True. Yeah. But have you heard, because right now there's prophecy that's happening right now with the Euphrates River drying up, and supposedly there's like these demons that are going to come out, and what the Euphrates River runs through Turkey, and like a couple of days after like the
Euphrates, you're saying they're Euphrates?
Yeah.
Because I had it this is what I had. I had a dream it had to be like 2013, and I was walked through a panel of a lantern, and I was shown the future, and that's what I was shown. I was shown the Euphrates River where it branches into two, and that there was war on one side, and then on the other side there's people gathering together in these communities to escape Armageddon or whatever.
There's a Bible verse that talks about when the Euphrates River dries up, which it is right now, and that it's going to release these demons. And then like 5 days after, like it was officially like dry, is when the big, huge earthquake just happened in Turkey. And I don't know if you've looked up it created like a Grand Canyon sized gash through the country of Turkey.
But they're also messing with CERN. Do you know about that?
Yeah. Well, I know about CERN, and I also know about HARP.
Yeah.
But no. So yeah. Is it Bible prophecy just happening? or are
Are
they
they
doing
making it?
things
Yeah, see,
to
that's what I
mimic
don't.
Bible prophecy?
It's so weird that it's just, I didn't know about the
You know,
demons connected to. I thought like the Bible, it was like the angels pouring out onto the earth something to, I don't know, I forget
I
the whole
know,
prophecy, but you have like the everyone under deception. You have like, and I don't know if you knew, but there's two COVID bills. One was named HR 666
yeah,
and the other one was named HR 6666. And I was like, why would you do that? Like, and like, why would you name something like that if you didn't want, you know,
people to think it was weird.
Christians to freak out?
Yeah.
Like, why would you do, is there some sort of like,
Well, the patent number for the luciferase, which is in the vaccine, which is the part that makes it luminescent, so you're supposed to be able to use a blue light to be able to check to see if somebody's had it.
yeah,
It's a patented chemical in the vaccine that was the patent number was 0606 or
yeah, and I don't know if like
0606.
they're just playing with people and they're
Yeah,
trying to get
both,
us divided, or
both. They clown us, and
yeah, what
also
the
those
heck
numbers
is
have
going
power.
on? So it's like they're trying to deliberately recreate panic and
Exactly.
situations and unrest. And if you look at early Germany too, before the Holocaust, like they didn't start persecuting Jews like putting them in
Right.
concentration camps right
Right.
away. It started with unrest,
Hmm.
food shortages, hyperinflation, you know, just a lot of like it's just weird. Like it's just weird. Um, you know, doctors being censored.
Yeah.
It's just if you actually and the change in the euthanasia laws. So
They did that in Germany too.
yeah, in Germany, they didn't first go after the Jews. They went after
People that were like
well,
special needs,
they did in a different way, but the people who were first euthanized were
special
the
needs
disabled
people.
children.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I don't know what's happening in the world. I don't know like what to think of it, if we're supposed to, like, my guides have in some way have said kind of like this has to happen. We weren't
I
changing,
do believe it does have to happen. Some one way or
yeah,
another, I do think it does.
and kind of not to interfere too much. I don't know what that means, but
Right.
I think we're going to have to come out on the other side. There's going to be either two scenarios. One is, we will be completely controlled because we can't be trusted or whatever
I
to,
won't.
yeah. Or
I will
no one's
exit
going to trust the
this
system
realm
again.
if
So,
it came down to that, if there were literally like people coming to round people up like they did back then, I would probably unalive myself.
yeah.
I'm serious. I will not go to that scenario. I refuse to. But part of me deep down inside knows that's not my mission. And one way or another, something else is going to take me out
Well,
or
another thing that's happening is the other alternative, which is people are losing faith in everything. So they're losing faith in the
well,
media.
that's part of this Saturn and Pisces and Pluto's getting ready to go into Aquarius, which I think we're going to see the rise of like an AI type god.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
see, I don't know much about Australia. See, that's
And
probably what
Pluto,
we don't
so
want
right
to
now
happen.
with that, also United States is in its Pluto return, which is when Rome fell.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I
So
do know
Pluto
that's
takes like 200 and some odd whatever years to make a full rotation, right? So like a return is like your birthday. Your birthday's your solar return. But Pluto is the planet of like,
well. That's why
change.
I'm saying like this could end in a variety of ways, and if it ends in a way where just people lose faith in everything, and there could be a great turning against the way we're so whatever's going to happen, there's definitely big change going to happen. It's
Mhm,
either going to happen in a centralized way or it's going to happen in a decentralized way
mhm.
because people
But
from
don't
what
you
I
think
see
there'll be a
don't
way
get,
that there could be like, remember the books you used to read where you could choose the alternate ending?
yeah, and then
So don't you think in a certain sense that it is a little bit of a mix of like, if you are at a certain place of consciousness, that
yeah,
there would, and I don't know if that's the 144,000 that they prophesy in the book, but I prep and I've got all these preparations. but I've never felt like I was going to use them. I felt like I'm prepping for my other family members who wouldn't wake up. Like
Yeah.
they're going to be able to, but I don't feel like I'm going to be affected.
Yeah, see, and that's funny because like in 2012, that's what I saw too, because everyone was worried about the world ending or
Oh,
whatever.
I was prepping in 2012. I was prepping originally back, remember with Y2K?
Wow, see that I knew nothing was going to
Because
happen.
my daughter, I had just had my first child. She was 3 months old.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, hell no. If these computers go down, I'm not going to be out trying to get food and water with the crazies of the town that I lived in, which at the time was not a very great area. So that was my first time of prepping. So in my family and friends' like defense, I wouldn't listen to me either because you know how many times I've cried wolf?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Y2K, 2012, pandemic, here we are now. So like nobody's gonna listen to a word I say, you know. But I
Yeah,
stay
so
ready. I
so
just
you
stay
probably
ready all the time.
that's probably happened to you because in a past life you've actually witnessed the
I do
fall of
think that
something.
for sure. I know that I have starved to death in a past life, so I do agree with that.
But like a
But
long time ago, going back to like that's what I saw in 2012. I said there's going to be a split and it's going to be like two worlds in one. So and that's
but I
kind of
think
what
right
we're
now
seeing,
it's like I think
duality.
I think what CERN did was take us kind of back to
Oh,
2012 because a lot of the things that were happening then, like I don't know, like have you ever been into like the Nibiru theory, like Planet X, Nibiru?
not so much. I kind
That
I did follow prophecy though, so like
that
I've been
that
very
was
much
a big thing
into
right before
kind of
2012,
prophecy.
and then that's a thing that's like coming up again. There were a lot of themes right before 2012 that are now coming back up. So I think CERN, especially like in July when they just barely like amped it back up again.
Yeah,
Um it's definitely and maybe even more than two worlds, right? Maybe who knows how many.
it could be. Or it could have been
Courtney
symbolic
came
of
out of
the
hiding.
idea that you're going to have like two different types of ways people live, and one is going to be in that, you know, powerless powerless way. But I've always seen and I've always had dreams, whether it's a group of people or a large number, or if it's a disaster that causes or something else. I've always seen there's going to be movements of people going away from the system. So they're
Mm,
going back to barter and trade. They're going
right.
back to, and I've seen that for years.
Yeah.
And like my heart just
But
tells
don't you think that
that's
will be the
happen.
people that don't, if you look at it from the ascension aspect of it, the people that don't go that are left, they'll be in that primitive state again.
Yeah. So and it reminded me of the, and again I've had lots of dreams of this. So it reminded me of the when they talk about in Revelations the people with the white robes.
Hmm.
Because in my dreams they were, ooh, I just got shivers. They were always wearing white. So they were always, again, that could be
Well,
symbolic.
that reminds me. You probably didn't see it, but here in the United States with the Super Bowl halftime show this year, all the
Yeah.
dancers were wearing these like white, creepy like robe things.
Wow. No, yeah.
What is the saying about the white robes?
Well, the white robes, I don't know this for sure, but I think it relates back to the Essenes. So the Essenes
Oh
were
yeah,
called the white
yeah.
robes.
Okay, I didn't know
So
that. I
and
know
what
of
they
the
did,
Essenes, but I didn't know they were called the white robes.
yeah. So and what the Essenes lived very purely. So
Yeah,
they wanted to be separated from Rome. So they
right.
formed their own communities. And a lot of people like in early Christianity, if people would learn a lot about early Christianity, it's amazing what you can learn. But so they but the Essenes were a Jewish community, but
Mhm.
they wanted to be separate from the corruption of Rome.
Right.
So they formed their own little self-sustaining type of communities. And Christians did this too through, starting
Mhm.
monastic kind of
Mhm.
societies where they all live in a building and they self-sustain,
Right.
and stuff like that. So, it's like the white robes, the feeling I got was it's a reference back to the Essenes in some sort of way. And it's kind of like
Do
a
you think that Jesus was an Essene too?
pardon?
Do you think that Jesus was an Essene?
I there's so many different interpretations. It's hard to know, but I think so. I have read books which seem to indicate
Did you
he
read the
was.
Dolores Cannon, Jesus and the Essenes?
I never got into her, but there's someone else who I read who felt.
Because Dolores was talking about CERN
Jesus
like
the Wicked
12 years ago.
Priest. There's a book called Jesus the Wicked Priest, and I kind of more follow history than some of these channelers or whatever.
Right.
But the idea was that he might have been a expatriate, you know, like if you go back to the Qumran or whatever, and some of the scrolls, I guess they were just really mad at this person who sounds like Jesus. And then you have the Mandaeans too, who kind of have a tradition of they're a form of Essenes, and they believe Jesus was not the Son of Man or the Son of God or whatever, but John the Baptist was. But so you have all these traditions that seem to point that he might have been. But it's so hard to know. There's just even I'm still learning Gnosticism now, and there's so many different gospels and stuff, and some of them wrote them just, you know, to speak of something rather than because it actually happened. So it's really hard to know the truth.
Or more of like a cryptic way to talk about something, kind of like what was his name?
Or a symbolic way to talk
Leonardo.
about things.
Who was it that used to have to do that? Leonardo da Vinci?
Yeah, a lot of artists did it.
And that's how he did his art, was he would paint different things into it. Like even the Last Supper is supposed to be like more of like a message about something.
Yeah. But I'm in love with Elaine Pagels. I read everything she writes, and she writes mostly on early Christianity and the Gnostics.
I really haven't ever looked that much into early Christianity, but I read this. I think it's a fiction. Well, it's a fiction, but it's supposed to be like of a true story. It's a story called Pope Joan. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to read that book.
Oh, it's so
I'm gonna get that one next.
You gotta read it, and it's so freaking good. But supposedly it's a true story that really happened.
Yeah, it is. It is a true story.
But the Catholic Church denies it. The Catholic Church vehemently denies it because they don't want to. They don't want to.
Yeah.
They basically got fooled by this woman who was a pope. She made it all the way to the pope.
That's based on that story.
Sorry, what was the name of the author you were saying though?
Elaine Pagels.
Just name like one of her books.
Revelations. And then she's got one, The Origin of Satan. Okay. And she's got quite a few books. So
we got our chat going nuts in here, but I haven't been able to pay attention. Sorry, you guys. We took a turn for the conspiracy, but that's what I love to talk about, anyways. Courtney's in. Hi, Courtney.
Yeah, there's some people who think Jesus wasn't a real person. I
think he was real.
Real.
I think he was real, and I think he was a heathen, and I think he went against the system, and I think he
stood up to the system, and you know, like a lot of different, like even the Mandaeans reference him. But
where do you think he was a hybrid magician, in your opinion?
I've wondered if you go back to the virgin birth, and this is where some I do believe in extraterrestrials, but you know, it could have been that some sort of.
That's what Courtney means by a hybrid, right? Exactly. Yeah, the only way a virgin birth could happen is if she was basically implanted.
Yeah. So, but who knows?
But then from the astrological point of it, which I think I was talking to my friend in here about this the other day. Did you ever watch Zeitgeist? Zeitgeist or Zeitgeist? Did you ever watch that? Back in the day?
No, I don't think I've seen that.
It's not a documentary, but it's kind of a documentary, but you gotta watch that. In the first 20 minutes of that, it's talking about how essentially the story of Jesus and the Virgin Mother and the December 25th, which is the winter solstice, is all talking about the sun, the rising of the sun. And, you know, it's Krishna, it's every other religion who's older than Christianity has a similar story, even with Horus and Osiris. It's just so the story of Jesus is obviously not original, but I still think that he himself was a person who lived and existed and shook things up to the point where why else would have they given him that story if he didn't exist?
Yeah, so I think he was a real person, and a myth was created around him.
And that myth, so I don't think he was myth was taken and plagiarized by all these other.
It's even the story of Buddha. I think there's a little bit of, if you know how supposedly Buddha was born. There's a little bit of that in the mythology too.
Oh no,
So
I didn't know how he was born. I know the story about how he became the Buddha, but
yeah,
not how he was born. Huh.
so like there's like little bits and pieces, and there could just be like there's a similarity too. So I don't
Sure.
know.
Sure.
But I don't know much about Egyptian religion or anything like that, but I've heard
That's where I'm at now trying to study, because and back to the whole past life stuff is I have had several sessions of the quantum healing hypnosis. So that's a type of past life regression that Dolores Cannon like pioneered, you know.
yeah.
And I was like Anubis, but like not like the god, but I basically, so what they do is they regress you and then they have you look down at yourself to see like what shoes are you wearing and what does the land look like. And my skin was black, but not like African American black. It was like opaque black.
Yeah.
And I could tell I was like a machine. I was like a robot
Oh wow.
guard. And I looked like a dog. I looked like Anubis, but I knew that I was like a guard and I was standing on the side of the Nile River. And there were more of us all the way down this river, and we were guards.
Wow.
So I don't know what that was all about. But to me, the energy didn't feel like it was in the past. It actually felt like it was in the future.
Oh, really?
I think it was a future life.
Wow.
Because really, time's not linear. But that was my Egyptian kind of rabbit hole I'm still trying to figure out. But they say that like the different chambers in the pyramids were like just to let just enough air come through, and the sarcophagus wasn't meant to be a coffin, but people that were being initiated, you were meant to like basically get to such a state of meditation that you needed very, very little oxygen to live. And it was a test that if you made it and you lived through those 3 days, this is where the reincarnation or the resurrection story kind
Oh,
of comes from too. They would come back, and your whoever your teacher was that was trying to initiate you would come back after 3 days. And if you lived, then you passed the test. And if you died, you failed. But you were supposed to be able to get yourself into such a trance-like state that those were just to let just the perfect amount of oxygen in, so that if you got yourself into that trance, you could live for 3 days without oxygen.
cool. Because like there's also theories that, like how he was taken down off the cross in 3 days or whatever. Because Pontius Pilate didn't really want to kill him. It was more just the fervor of wanting him persecuted.
So like he didn't really resurrect, they took him down.
They took him. So there's a theory, and actually it was
Right.
Osho who has this theory. And if you look up Jesus in Kashmir, India, there's a theory that he was taken off the cross after 3 days. He wasn't fully died, so that's why he rested in the cave for a little bit. And cave came out after, said goodbye to his disciples. And there's a story of
Because people needed to think he died.
yeah, so there's a story of an Isa in Kashmir who's had crucifixion marks and claimed he was crucified and let
What's
off
an
the
Isa?
cross.
Like one of their like yogi type people?
Yeah, I don't again, I don't know everything about it, but I just know that there's a theory. So it might not be that he died and came back to life or ascended or whatever. He could have been taken
He
off.
basically had to get out of Bethlehem or wherever
Yeah,
he was
so
at.
yes, that
Jerusalem.
that was and it was Osho. I think you can probably find it on YouTube, Osho talking about it. So,
Really?
yeah, but in supposedly in India, according to Osho or whatever, there is this belief that Jesus didn't die on the cross and that he was taken down and allowed to escape in some way. But even if you read the Bible, Pontius Pilate didn't really want to kill him,
Right.
so kept asking them, "Are you sure you want me to kill this guy, etc." Again, don't quote me or anything.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I want to look into it.
but yeah, so you might want to look that up. It's an interesting story. So again, there could be more of a human element to Jesus. And again, I've studied a lot of the Mandaean texts too, and I think he was a real guy. I think he's just a lot of myth was created around him.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah,
Oh my
but
gosh, we could just go so many places. My husband just got home.
it's so interesting. Early Christianity.
Well, we're gonna have to do a part 2 of this. I'll have to go get those books, and
Yeah,
Pope Joan is
I
just.
think we're the Gnostics.
Oh,
So,
I agree.
yeah, so we're the New Agers of this world are Gnostics, and we're still at war with the Christians in some way. It's not as heavy, but
Yeah,
um, you know, we all branch off from the same
yeah.
thing.
Don't get me going down with the Jesuits and all. Go down so many different rabbit holes right now.
Yeah, no,
Well,
no, no. I don't. Yeah, but the Gnostics are just like a group of early Christians.
yeah,
So I don't know if the Cathars are. I've studied Catharism too. They're considered Gnostics, or they're
Cathars.
the Cathars.
Hmm,
Yeah,
I have
the
not heard of that.
you haven't heard of the Cathars?
Uh-uh.
So they were
Like CA, like Catholic, or like KA.
yeah, Cathars, and they were a group, and in because during the whole, I think it was around 1200, I forget. Like, I read so much stuff, I
But
forget.
before
But
Jesus.
they're a group that kind of lost faith in the church,
Oh,
and
okay.
they still believed in Jesus, but they were kind of gnostic in a way. They believed Lucifer was the good guy, and then the
Right.
demiurge was Jehovah. But
Yeah.
they got persecuted. Like, they
Wow.
were horribly tortured, and this is this Inquisition,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
um so they were horribly and almost in a complete Holocaust. Like,
Wow.
they were almost completely wiped
So of
out.
course we would have never learned about them because they don't want us questioning anything.
Yeah. So, but a lot of people know about the Cathars. They're just they came after, but what I didn't know is that there was a group that was before the kind of Catholicism came around. I always
Yeah.
thought it was Catholicism, and then groups branched off from that.
Oh,
But
right. No, I think I did know that there were, because yeah, you're right. They were just like believers that were just doing their own kind of thing, and the message was just kind of spreading. There
yeah,
wasn't
so
like an
there was a lot
organized
of
religion.
splinter groups around the first and second century.
Yeah.
And so she talks a lot about that, and it's very fascinating.
I swear I
So,
seen a movie once that was pretty good at like depicting that. Now I can't remember what movie it was. It might have been a movie about Muhammad too, because I mean Muhammad wasn't even like uh wasn't even a prophet yet, Because then what what movie was it? Was it, I kind of want to feel like it was even
because it's
like
all kind of the same period. I mean, the same
to
time
us,
is the same
because it was so long ago. It does seem like it was all about the same. Let's see if somebody just might. Okay, bye, Courtney. I know we're gonna go too. My freaking washing machine shit the bed. So me and my husband have to go have a what do they call the laundromat date? We got to go do laundry at the
Oh,
laundry. Our dryer broke like last week. We fixed it, and literally as he was fixing the dryer, I go to wash the first load, and I'm all excited because the dryer works, and all of a sudden my spin cycle stopped working.
wow.
Built-in obsolescence.
I
But I
just
refuse to
hang
buy a
everything
new
dry.
machine because I know that they build things to be shitty, so I'd rather just fix it.
Yeah,
It's not
see,
just
that's
about saving money,
yeah, that's
and it's environmental too, but it's
yeah,
like, to get the part, of course, we have to wait for 2 weeks for it to get shipped. So anyway, we're going to the laundromat, but it was so freaking awesome to hang out with you.
yeah,
We're going to have
totally.
to see, hopefully we don't get any hate. At least everybody that hung out with us tonight was cool and open-minded. So
Yeah,
thank you so
totally.
much for everybody. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise that it didn't get posted to the Oracle group.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
All of a
Is it
sudden we
on
go from,
YouTube? It's gonna be on
it's
YouTube?
on YouTube and then just
I
my
hope they
personal
don't
page.
dox you or
I don't
something.
care. I really don't. I'm over it.
Okay,
Okay, well, thanks for hanging out.
no problem.
Okay, see you. Bye,
Okay, you
everybody.
too. Okay, bye.
See ya.